Alright, what's up guys, Poison here, and I had to restart this audio. I'm very upset, so I was recording the audio. I got a good 5 minutes into it, and then I accidentally tapped the cord to the USB, and Windows Movie Maker, that's what I'm using to record the audio over the video, decided to say, hey, you can't use this anymore, and it basically got rid of all the audio. So, yeah, restarting the audio. What's up guys, Poison here, and yeah, today's Thursday, we're doing some more quick play on Tomb Raider. I don't know what part this is. I recorded this video on Tuesday. I'm recording the audio today on Wednesday. You guys are seeing this Thursday. That's just how quick play is. And before we get into our actual topic, I'm going to talk about some plans I have for games I want to purchase for the channel and what the games would be used for. So there's two games I really want to purchase right now. I want to purchase the BioShock collection, which has BioShock 1, 2, and Infinite, along with all DLC, I believe. That's a cost about like $40 right now. I want to do an actual Let's Play on those games later, so later on I'll be purchasing that. I also want to purchase the Mega Man Legacy Collection. The thing about Mega Man though is I really wouldn't do a Let's Play on it. Mega Man would be more of a game I just do like for live streaming, because I've talked about it in other videos, but I finally have unlimited home internet, so I could live stream whenever I want, as long as I want, without any problems. They're not going to cap my data, they're not going to slow down my data. So what I get for paying $50 more, and I'm not even upset that I have to pay more, but I'm actually really happy. So yeah, I want to live stream some Mega Man later when I get it. The game costs about $20. I think it's on sale right now, $20 to $30, something like that. I'll be purchasing that soon. You know, $10. Yeah, it'd be nice to save $10, but it's not really like a big thing. I could buy it later. Yes, money is still a problem, even though I work, but I'm saying $10 isn't like a major thing. Like if it were to drop like $20 is the point where I'm like, alright, this is when we should buy something. But, yeah. Later on, I do want to purchase Mega Man and BioShock. Those will be all on the channel sooner or later. I'm still taking a break from buying games, though. I'm waiting till at least February before I buy more games, because I have a bunch of games I own that I still have to play and still want to play. Now, that being said, today's video, I'm going to talk about stretching your ears, or ear stretching, or whatever you want to call it. Just as long as you don't call it gauges, you know, then we'll be fine. Because we'll talk about that later on, too. But let's just talk about me, like, what I've done to stretch my ears. Like, I'm going to give you guys tips, and I'm going to talk about, like, what to avoid, what to do, what not to do, you know, basic stuff. Like, this will be more, like, information instead of just, like, opinion. Now, let's talk about the gauges thing. So, some people like to call it ear stretching gauges. I don't know where that trend came from, and it's the most irritating trend in the world. I seriously, like, I kind of lose a little bit of respect for people when they call them gauges, and I've talked to people with stretched ears, and they're like, oh yeah, I love my gauges, and, like, I just think, like, what is wrong with you, dude? Why are you calling them gauges, you know? They're not called gauges. Ugh. Sorry, I also did something weird today. I decided to have coffee and toast instead of my usual cereal that I usually have, and, like, the coffee is coming back, and I just keep burping, so excuse me on that part. But I started stretching my ears back in 2013, actually Christmas Day of 2013. I had my kit since around the middle of December of 2013, once again. So I had my ears, or I had my kit because I went on Amazon, I bought a kit for like $20-ish. It came with tapers, plugs, or tunnels technically, because it didn't come with plugs. Let's talk about that too. Plugs are the ones you put in your ears that are solid, and tunnels are the ones that are hollow that just keep it open. Very thin metal or other items, but the difference between plugs and tunnels is just like, you know, plugs are solid, tunnels are see-through. So I ended up ordering a kit on Amazon for about $20. It came from sizes 16 gauge to about 00 gauge. And when you talk about stretching ears, you're going to talk about, like, there's different measurements you could use. And starting out from, like, normal ear piercing to about 00G, you could call them gauges. Like, that's the measurement. It's not what they're called, but you measurement and gauge. But after 00G, you either have to learn inches or you have to learn millimeters. I went with millimeters because they're easier. You know, you go up one size every millimeter. With inches, you have to be like 7/8 inches, 1 inch, you know. So millimeters is the easier choice to go through. That being said, I bought a kit from, like, I think it was 16 gauge to about 00G, or it was a 00G, and the kit was wonderful. It came with ear stretching balm too. Like, came with like this little solution that you like mix in your fingers and then put it in your ear, and you put it on the taper before you do it, and it worked good. I loved it. But there's like, it's not really missing a piece, because technically, like, when you stretch ears, it goes up, or it goes down technically, from like 16 gauge to 14 to 12 to 10, you know, it goes down by 2 gauges. And the thing is, my ears, I had a really big problem going from 2 gauge to 0 gauge. Like, my ear didn't want to stretch. And the thing is, before we, like, let's talk about this first, then we'll get into it. But my ears didn't want to stretch from 2 gauge to 0 gauge because I felt I was going to rip my ear. Like, it didn't want to go through, and it hurt a lot. Now, the thing about that is, stretching your ears, do not listen to what people say. It is a painful process. You're going to deal with pain. No matter what you do, no matter if you get high, no matter if you take painkillers, no matter what happens, stretching your ears is a painful process, and you're going to have to deal with pain. I don't care what people have told you. If someone says, oh, I stretch my ears without any pain, they're fucking full of shit, honestly. Like, sorry to put it out there like that, but it is a painful process. I've taken painkillers a lot while stretching my ears, and like, sure, at first it doesn't hurt while stretching. Trust me, after the painkillers wear off, your ears are going to be sore, they're going to burn, they're going to hurt. It's more like it's not really more like hurting, it's more of a burn, because you technically are stretching something that's not meant to be stretched. So it's going to burn a lot, especially if you touch it, it's going to burn like hell. And putting in a cold piece of steel, like I said, I had steel tapers, I had steel tunnels. Stretching your ears, it's gonna burn if you touch it, but then on the inside, it's gonna be so cold, and it's gonna like mess with your ears so much. But stretching your ears is not a painless process. You're gonna experience pain, and you also have to know that stretching your ears is a life commitment. Once you get past a certain size, and that size is 00G, once it gets to 00G, guess what? Your ears, they're never gonna heal back to normal. They're always gonna be stretched. Like, 00G is the last place you could go to. After you stretch past 00G, your ears are permanently stretched. You're not going to be able to heal them up anymore. And it's like a tattoo, you know. You have to really decide, is this really something I want? With a tattoo, you could easily cover it up. With your stretched ears, you can't. And that being said, I still want to stretch my ears. I'm currently at 15 millimeters. And I'm sorry if this conversation goes everywhere into random directions. I'm trying to put this as best as I can. But, yeah, I'm currently at 15 millimeters. I'm at least trying to get to 22 millimeters. 22 millimeters is the lowest I want to be. That's about 7/8 of an inch. I would love to go up to 25 millimeters, though, and go to a full inch. And you can imagine an inch, how big my ear will be, and, like, that's not going to be easily covered up. I won't even know how to cover it up. And even if I were to buy plugs that look like flesh-toned, guess what? My ears are still gonna be noticeable. Like, no one has earlobes that big. But before you decide to stretch your ears, you gotta consider, like, you as a person, you know who you are. Like, are you an adult? Are you in high school? What's going on? Where are you at currently in life? Me, currently, I'm not, I'm an adult. I'm not in school anymore, but I'm also not in a permanent job. I'm currently doing, like, side work whenever it comes up, and my boss personally doesn't care, but a lot of people a lot of bosses will care, because guess what? You're an employee of them, they're gonna see you have stretched ears, they may not want to keep you, they may not want to hire you. That's gonna be a huge problem. So, you honestly have to decide, like, are you in a place where you can stretch your ears or not? Honestly, a lot of people tell me, hey, you shouldn't be stretching your ears, and, like, it's mostly family and, like, friends are like, hey, as an older person, I'm telling you, you shouldn't be stretching anymore, keep it to where you are. My sister's telling me to stay at my 15 millimeters. I told her, no, I'm not going to stay here, because technically, 15 millimeters isn't a real place for ear stretching. I think 16 and 18 are real, but, like, 15 millimeters is a weird place, because it's not really a real size. And you may be wondering, how do you have plugs if it's not a real size? Well, I went to a website called Arctic Buffalo. I tried to get a sponsorship with them late last year. I didn't end up winning, unfortunately. But they sell these plugs for like $2 to $5 at most, where they go up by 1 millimeter increments, and they're meant to help you stretch your ears without pain. Now, they work really good, honestly. Going from like, I think it was like 12 millimeters to 13 millimeters, it just popped in, it didn't hurt at all. But I wouldn't stretch your ears by itself like that. What I'm doing to stretch my ears is I use bondage tape. Now, if you guys know what bondage is, yes, it's that weird sexual act where it's like people have that like tape that covers up, you know, their explicit body parts, I guess if you want to call it that, depending on who you are. But, yeah, I use bondage tape, and one thing I've learned is when you use bondage tape, or you use tape to stretch your ears higher, you have to layer it around the plug. So, I currently have, I'm currently using the glass plugs, because that's what the material is. They're glass, and they go up by 1 millimeter. You could honestly stay at the size for a long time. I choose not to, because I don't like, you know, waiting like 2 months to stretch my ears. So what I'll do is like every 2 to 3 weeks, I'll put a new layer of tape. And for every 4 layers stacked on top of each other, I've learned it's 1 millimeter. So I'll put the bondage tape around the glass plug, and honestly, I have no pain. Although, depending on who you ask, a lot of people will tell you not to use bondage tape and you should use Teflon tape. While the other side of people will say not to use Teflon tape, use bondage tape. Honestly, you have to decide, who do you want to believe more, you know? Are you going to believe the guy who has his ears small, who uses Teflon tape, or are you going to listen to the guy who has huge ears, who uses bondage tape? Honestly, I hear the same thing from both sides, that, oh, this product does this, yet this product does this. So, honestly, I stick with bondage tape because that's what I have. I'm not going to go out and purchase a new tape. If I have, like, a big stack of bondage tape, why wouldn't I use it? But stretching your ears is not really something like I said, it's a painful process. It takes a long time. Like I'm saying, 3 years, and I still have a lot of stretching to do. Hopefully by the end of 2017, I'll finally be at my final size, but that's being very optimistic. Like, I'm not sure if by the end of 2017 I'll be done, honestly. And a lot of people joke around like, oh, once you start stretching your ears, you're never done, you know, it's like tattoos. Honestly, I would love to have huge ears, but I can't financially do that, you know? I need a job, so I feel 22 millimeters at the very least, or even 1 inch at the very least would be a good, decent size. But, yeah. Another thing about this is, I get asked a lot while at work because a lot of people notice my plugs, and actually, for the thumbnail, I'm gonna have my, I'm gonna take a picture and I'm gonna have my plugs to show you, like, what it looks like. A lot of people notice them because they're glass plugs that are blue. You notice, like, blue stand out, and, like, I can't really hide them unless I decide to take them out. But a lot of people have asked me, like, oh, what are those in your ear? Are they painful? Will they ever shrink? No, my ears will never go back to normal. Yes, they were painful. They're glass plugs, like, I've also been asked by a few employees that work with us, they're like, oh, this one woman in particular, she's like, oh, I really love your stretched ears. What, like, do you have any tips for, like, stretching my ears? And honestly, I tell her the same thing always. You have to be on top of healthcare. Like, I don't know, like, I'm not saying this to judge anyone, be like, oh, you look dirty, no. I'm saying, like, when you stretch your ears, your body creates pus, or puss. And that's, if I recall, pus is, like, to help, like, heal your body or something. Honestly, your ears are never going to be healed. Like, your ears are always going to be open. There's going to be pus on your plug or your tunnel. I clean my tunnels at the very least twice a week, every Wednesday and Sunday. That's the same time I shave. But there's just times where you'll look at your plugs and you'll notice, like, this pus growing on it. And you have to clean it, like, because one, pus is, like, the nastiest smell on earth. If you are someone who's not on top of health care, don't stretch your ears, honestly. Because, this, stretching your ears could end really bad. You could easily get your ears infected. You could easily mess up your ears, and the only way to really close your ears is if you get surgery. But, if you're someone who's on top of healthcare, then yeah, stretch your ears. If you don't have to worry about, certain thing, and I guess I forgot to cut out this part, oops. If you're not, like, the best when it comes to healthcare, maybe not stretch your ears. But you really have to see and be like, can I really do this? Is this really something I could do? Because I've known a lot of people who stretch their ears, and they get like 2 sizes in, and they're like, you know what? This was just a nasty experience. It hurt so much. I'm not gonna do it anymore. You know, why would I put myself through the pain? Why would I put myself through this filth? Your ears are constantly gonna be dirty, and even if you have your ears pierced, check your earrings and clean them, because puss is gonna happen regardless. But you're just gonna notice it way more because your ears are gonna be open. And trust me, you could smell this. You're gonna smell your ears a lot. Like, especially if you don't take care of them, the puss is gonna grow and it's just gonna be an awful smell. I can't even describe how it smells, honestly, but it's horrendous. Let's see, where else to go with this? Stretching your ears is honestly pretty cheap. You could do it pretty cheap. One thing I forgot to mention. For the love of God, look up tapers, T-A-P-E-R-S. Those are what most people use to stretch your ears. If you stretch your ears, do not wear tapers. Tapers are used just to open your ear up until you put another item in it, which is usually a tunnel or a plug. But I see a lot of people, especially here in Sacramento, who stretch their ears, who keep wearing tapers. And trust me, it's gonna be all bad. All you're doing is gonna force your ear into a bad angle. It's not worth it. And also, once you get past a certain size, like me, I'm at 15 millimeters right now. If I were to lean my head one way or another, my ears, like, they're so big now, they droop down and they'll, like, fall forward. And it's fun, but it's, like, it's kind of gross, too. And obviously, with the bigger they're gonna get, the more they're gonna droop down. But, like I said earlier, you really have to decide, can you really stretch your ears? Would it be worth it for you? Will you miss out on stuff, like, you know? You're not, like, financially, job-wise, like, you know, if you're in school, okay, maybe stretch your ears, like, high school at least. You know, I wouldn't condone stretching your ears in high school, first off, okay? I started doing it in high school, but, you know, I'm saying if you're in high school, you don't have a job yet, you're still in school, sure, right now it's not going to affect you, but think about what's going to affect you in the future. If you work, yeah, if you're an adult and you're working and you've held your job for quite a few years, then yeah, maybe, you know, stretch your ears. But if you don't have a job, really debate. Look at what you want to work in. If you're going to have a desk job, then maybe you can have a stretched ears. But if you're going to work, like, out in the public, you really have to decide, hey, can I really do this? The same with tattoos, except, you know, you can cover up tattoos. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I'll probably revisit this topic later when I have more discussion to talk about. But we're pretty much done with the video, and yeah, we have like a few seconds left. So until tomorrow for another episode of Quick Play, I'll probably continue this discussion tomorrow. But until then, have an awesome day. Thank you for watching. Bye.